Your current job is a pediatrician. How long have you been in this role?
I have been a pediatrician after residency from 2006 to 2009. So starting in 2009, I started being a pediatrician out of my residency, pediatric residency after school.
That's good. What degree or training do you have in this profession, and how long did it take you to complete this degree and training?
I went to medical school after college, and I actually did an accelerated program. So instead of it taking the normal 4 years of undergrad and 4 years of medical school, I actually finished my undergraduate degree in 3 years, and then I moved on to do my medical school degree at University of Florida for 4 years. And then, as I was saying before, I did 3 years of residency after medical school.
Oh, how was residency?
Residency was good. It was very challenging. It was a lot of hours as far as just back-to-back, sometimes 32, 36 hours in the hospital without any, sleep. And so you got really used to functioning without a whole lot of rest. But, you're constantly busy, so it wasn't that bad, but it's definitely a lot of hours. Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about your job?
I love teaching. I love educating, like, my parents. So many things that you just think come natural as a mom or a dad, or just taking care of this being, and it's not. And so it's nice to kind of just teach things that, never really a person knew, and it made a really big difference, like in their lives and their children's lives. Whether it's eating, sleeping, whether it's school, parenting, discipline, you name it. And it's just wonderful to have that opportunity to really have effects on people's lives in a positive way. And I loved, and that's why I went into pediatrics, because I like to have that kind of impression on someone's life, to be able to start from the very, very beginning, so we don't create bad habits or go down roads. And, early diagnoses of diseases very early on in life, to either cure them of it or at least make sure that they are growing healthy and are their full potential as far as their body is concerned. So all of that is really awesome to have that kind of opportunity, every day.
That's awesome.
What do you like least about your job?
Probably now just working with insurance companies, and so many different insurance companies. A lot of them, give very little for the amount of money that the person pays for them. And, it's just hard as a doctor, because you wanted to prescribe this medication or that one, if you want to refer them to this place or that place. And the insurance company is just like, no. And so that's hard, because you almost feel like you have to compromise sometimes your medical decisions because of the financial restraints of the patient with their insurance. So that's hard. Sometimes people have to change doctors. They can't even be my patient because their insurance company, I'm not a provider with their insurance company. So that's probably one of the hardest things right now. And then, I do own this practice, so definitely the business aspect of that is challenging. But I actually like that, that part about it is actually kind of fun, the challenge of just owning a business. But there is a lot of dynamics that go into, the dynamics of individual personalities that the staff has, and making sure that you're able to try and address everything so that you can make sure that there's a cohesiveness and we all work as a team. Because patients quickly can see if there's a lot of discord going on and people aren't happy, where they're working. So, it takes a little extra outside of just being a doctor to be a business owner as well. So,
what was your major in college?
I majored in chemistry. I minored in biology. And
That's good. How did you land in this position? So, describe your educational and career path to this current job.
I wanted to actually be an OBGYN initially, and I just wanted to deliver babies. So I had a mentor who allowed me to go with her to see deliveries, and sometimes it'd be 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm like, I don't necessarily want to do that, but I loved really actually once the baby was born, just this baby and, all that was having to go on with that. And I actually realized that I actually liked more of the baby part than I did the OBGYN part. And so that helped me to kind of go, well, maybe, between the lifestyle as well as the fact that I actually, even though I was thinking more of the birth and all of that, it was actually the baby piece and not necessarily the woman and the pregnancy and all of that I was actually more interested in. And so, but my mentor, who was an OBGYN, helped me to, understand as far as, like, I have to go to medical school, becoming a doctor, all of that. So she was an MD, so that actually was still helpful as far as kind of knowing what to do and how to get there. And when I was in medical school, you have to do a lot of rotations. You do rotations in everything. And that really helped to solidify the fact that I knew, like, that's when I was like, okay, I really do want to be in pediatrics, not in internal medicine or geriatrics or surgery, or because you do all of them, just to be sure, number one, that you have somewhat of a baseline educational experience in those fields, but number two, to know that that's what you want to do for real.
So when was that point that you decided, yes, even though this is challenging, I actually do want to do this?
I would definitely say when I was applying for the junior honors medical program at University of Florida, because I knew that if I had gotten accepted to that program, I was going to be in medical school, and that was my sophomore year of undergrad. So that was probably when I really had to make the decision, like, this is definitely what I see, what I want to do, and I'm ready to accept the challenge. I was always very leery of my capabilities. Of course, everyone thinks, like, doctors have to be just ridiculously smart. And I just never saw myself as just an amazingly smart person. Although I've always been, like, in honors courses and, made very, very good grades and all of that. I just did not see myself to that degree of smartness. And so I had to kind of get past, get out of my own way, in the sense of it wasn't really about, what I thought of how smart I was, but the fact that if I really wanted to be a servant, to people, if I really, really enjoyed medicine and science, and that being a passion of mine, a God-given talent that I had, then I needed to do what it took in order to actually have a career in that. And so, again, I just accepted that challenge and just, moved forward from there. So.
Okay.
Do you work in a team or independent environment?
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say I work with the team in the sense that my medical assistants and my front desk, we're all a team. But I mean, as of my day-to-day medical decisions are made, I make those decisions by myself.
What advice do you have for students who are interested in pursuing this career?
I would just say, really, really, really shadow. I think that that's so key to really know without a shadow of a doubt that that's what you want to do. Unfortunately, even though you're taking science courses, biology, physiology, even anatomy, that is not what you're going to be doing when you actually start practicing medicine. So in order to really see what a doctor does, you have to go and shadow a doctor, and especially even specifically in the field that you're thinking about going into, because my day is completely different than a surgeon's day, it's completely different than an OBGYN's day, and so physical therapists, you name it, psychiatrists. So it's very important that you kind of actually shadow a couple different kinds of doctors. So because sometimes you're thinking one way, like I was thinking OB, and I still ended up being a doctor, but I definitely did not feel like OB, and I have no regrets. Like, I'm very, very happy that I decided to go into pediatrics and not OBGYN. So I just think it's shadowing, because I wouldn't have known that had I not shadowed, and I knew very early on, before I even went to medical school, that was more or less the avenue I was really leaning towards. But it did solidify the fact that I really wanted to become a doctor. But, you know, as a physician, it's because of the challenge and the money that it takes to be a doctor as far as medical school. You know, you don't want to kind of go in teeter-tottering, like kind of iffy. When you go, you need to be sure, you know, even on like college. Like some people go to college like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to major in, this, that, and the other. When you go to medical school, you need to know this is what I want to do, and there's nothing else I want to do. That way, you know, the money is well spent, the time is well spent, the challenges you'll face, you'll be willing to, you know, surpass them and cross over them, because you know the end goal is what you want. Because it's hard and it's expensive. So, you know, you have to pray about it, you know, talk to your friends, your family, shadow, and just know. So when you step through those doors, you know, you're ready.
So I know sometimes you have to, you know, deal with negatives.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with that? Like the news that come with it, diseases and all that, how do you overcome that and know that it's okay?
Well, one of the things I love about pediatrics is, honestly, 99% of the time, kids overcome the diseases, cancer, even genetic disorders. If they don't, like I said, become cured of them, they at least learn to live with them. And so that's what's awesome about pediatrics. Whereas opposed to in geriatrics, you know, for older people, cancer, oncology, all of that, I mean, your percentage is getting more like 50-50, and actually more often they're going to pass away of that illness than not. And so I knew my personality and the way my emotions are, that was not, you know, the place that I needed to be, because I do become way too emotionally attached. But, you know, honestly, I can count on, you know, 2 hands in private practice, the number of children that were diagnosed with cancer, the number of children that passed away, who had a very negative kind of outcome from, you know, for me when they visited here in the office to their demise or what have you. But so it's not often. It really, really isn't. And so that's why it's, you know, it's way more positive. And I deal more with health and keeping children well and making them well. And that's, you know, it's nice, because day in and day out, that's the majority of what I do.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it, right?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
my pleasure. My pleasure. You guys have an awesome day.
Thank you so much.
Take care.